Hydrogen. It's the most abundant element in our universe and has been since the Big Bang. It is the foundation of all matter, and therefore, life. Humans quickly identified hydrogen as a component of water and as a source of fuel, though it was its lighter-than-air properties which paved the way for the discovery of flight. Hydrogen was set to usher in a new era of technology, of travel, and of war. It was, however, disaster that would define hydrogen in the 20th century.
It's crashing terrible, 400 or 500 feet into the sky. I can't talk, ladies and gentlemen.
And with that, the visions of a hydrogen future were lost. What follows is the wholesale carbonisation of the industrial world. And, despite all warnings, intellect, and efforts, the vast amount of capital embedded in the fossil fuel system could bring a very dark future. But there is hope. Research around hydrogen has surged, and so emerges the idea of the hydrogen economy. The hydrogen economy is the mass manufacture and use of hydrogen as an energy store. This could mean the transition from fossil fuels in powering transportation, or long-term storage of renewable power. Hydrogen can power our agriculture, our businesses, and our homes. Welcome to Gorm. Situated in the middle of the North Sea, Gorm falls under the Danish EEZ and generates up to 10% of Denmark's energy production. Though, with the transition to more renewable sources, platforms like Gorm become increasingly worn by the North Sea conditions. This is Jaren Holm. Here he is, talking to Danish PM Mette Frederiksen. They are signing an agreement to kickstart Denmark's transition from fossil fuels to a newer, greener hydrogen economy. It's a celebrated partnership. Jaren is looking to spend big and win big, and Mette needs some news after recent polling revealed people thought she was boring. Gorm was established as the site for a pilot project, where, instead of exporting oil to the mainland, it would generate and export hydrogen. The first step was to renovate the declining standards of the rig. Due to the short-term mentality of fossil fuels and the harshness of the conditions, most oil rigs today are operating beyond their designed lives. Magtron would go beyond repairing the rig, but undertaking an overhaul of the accommodation. After all, there would be a big team needed for the project ahead. The next addition, an electrolyzer. This is an electrolyzer. It may not look like much, but it's elegantly simple. You have your power here, attach it to these, splitting up this into this. Let's see it in action. No? Nothing? Thankfully, the process is scalable. The 40 megawatt electrolyzer used in Gorm fills a whole room and can produce 230,000 meters cubed of hydrogen per day. The electrolyzer is surrounded by the other functions required for the generation of this hydrogen. Seawater is purified and electrolyzed. For now, power is supplied through underwater cables from the mainland, but within months, an offshore wind farm is up and running to create truly green hydrogen. The electrolyzer platform is raised above the oil rig because of what's planned next. The plan is to build a storage balloon which floats above the oil rig. Uncompressed hydrogen gas is stored in polyurethane-lined polyester segments. These are held in a spherical shape by steel trusses. The gas enters the balloon through a network of pipes. Hydrogen produced by the electrolyzer comes up into the balloon. It is processed through control, where its destination is confirmed, and the gas gets delivered to the appropriate segment. If there becomes an issue with one of the segments, it can be filled with breathable air. Workers can then enter the segments and repair it. The air is then expelled, ready for reinflation. Construction begins in earnest in the spring of 2026. Construction was completed with the installation of a communications radome. Gorm could communicate to the globe. The magnificent structure had become somewhat of a fad on social media. Many were viewing it as just novelty experimentation by a billionaire, the huge store of hydrogen merely representing its low demand. Despite this opinion, Gorm did see a relatively regular set of customers from the shipping industry. Its location was uniquely placed to refuel international cargo ships, many of whom had already started to transition towards hydrogen as a fuel. In October 2028, there is news which drastically changes the trajectory of Gorm. The EU passes an energy tax directive, which adjusts the excise duty for energy products, specifically focusing on raising the duty rates of fossil fuels. Overnight, hydrogen, and duly Gorm, become a far more attractive option. Meanwhile, on shore, Jared Home is under fire. His finances had come under a lot of scrutiny because of Gorm's success, and his insistence on offering tax-free hydrogen had broke the terms of his governmental contract. This has been the final straw in launching an investigation. Gorm's popularity, however, was ceaseless. It had become a symbol for a new age. It had become so popular, in fact, that people would take great expense to be seen on Gorm, and Jared Home would throw lavish parties to escape from the pressures on shore. In order to fuel these parties, a series of import bays were constructed, a gateway to this party island. It was quickly realised that if imports were to continue at such a rate, it would overwhelm the balloon. So every item which enters the structure is processed through the weighhouse. Its weight is recorded, and there is a levy placed on importing heavier items. Yaren's stays were getting longer and longer, and, in October of 2032, he decided to permanently move in to Gorm. It had become renowned as a place for the rich and powerful to play, away from the prying eyes of society. It had everything you want, as long as you could pay for it, and no one was there to tell you no. Meet the Smithfields. They are a normal family. Barry Smithfield is in insurance, Linda Smithfield watches snooker. The kids don't get along, and the dog gets way too many treats. They all live at Seaview Manor. It's a lovely house, with all the amenities in a guest room, and the Smithfields like to keep it prim and proper. They are a house-proud folk. Seaview Manor is one of the most lauded properties on Gorm. Located in Bay C3, it's in a prime location, and its architectural style is sure to turn heads. They are one of the first few permanent residents on Gorm, and they don't want for anything. They have everything they need. Homes like Seaview Manor are made possible by new and specialist techniques and products exclusive to Gorm.
They look like stone or wood, and it's all a carefully crafted illusion to impress the neighbors or passers-by.
These products are made in the industrial district, which is developed towards the underside of the balloon. Due to the high cost associated with importing goods, the industry on Gorm focuses on fabricating bespoke items through recycling, plastic moulding, or 3D printing. Tourist sectors develop outside the exclusivity of the top dome. They are frugal, lightweight structures, but the vernacular proves a popular and unique experience for tourists from around the world. In order to uphold these industries, there emerges a worker class trying their luck. There is lots of money to be made here servicing the wealthy, but little structure for those at the bottom. Those not willing to endure the dangerous and arduous daily journey up from the rig erect portaledges on the inner segments of the balloon. Enthused by the society which had developed in his image, Yaron Home begins the construction of a master plan vision for Gorm. Yaron is obsessed with his vision and won't think about anything else. As a result of the ever-increasing weight levy, many of the workers could no longer afford a life on Gorm. Some stayed, but many were forced to leave. Despite the exodus, the kingdom of Gorm was doomed to collapse. The weight of its sins and of its greed overwhelmed its lift and plunged the hydrogen dream into watery depths. Well, it has been a long-standing project for the Firmament Group. For decades, we have been carefully collecting, curating, and restoring the surviving records of Gorm. And this film, it seeks to retell the story as accurately as possible. Some of the details are not clear, but we really hope that us and you can learn from the mistakes of our predecessors. It is not a film about the dangers of hydrogen technology. This has not re-emerged, but instead, it's a warning about our very nature. You see what I mean?
Well, I think it's very interesting you say that.